What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to episode 88 of the show. The phone number is 512-766-4646. Don't forget to call or text that number. Please subscribe, thumbs up, give us a comment, become a VIP like Steven Ferreira, Bill Sr., Blake Made Mike Quit, Sean the Don, or Big Daddy Pelly, and we'll give you a shout-out every month, just like with these gentlemen. Oh, and we are here today. We're one man down. Nate couldn't make it. He had to go on he told me that he had to go find himself. I don't know what that means, dude. He wouldn't give me any more details. He said, "Hey man, I have to go." I said, "Where are you going?" And he said Dakota. And I said, "What?" He said Dakota. So I said north or south.
Which one?
That's what exactly, dude. And he said neither. So I don't know what that means. Wow. I have no idea what that means.
He's going old school with it.
I also don't know what he's doing.
Post-Civil War. What would you do to try and find yourself in Dakota? What do you think that would manifest itself as in Blake's life?
I think I'd want to find a shaman.
Amen.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or
Nice.
like maybe someone who could lead me on a eye-opening yet sometimes terrible and horrifying, adventure of a lifetime that leaves me, with greater wisdom and an appreciation for the things I have.
Coming to a theater near you, directed by Richard Linklater, will discover things about himself he never knew in Dakota.
Like
Dakota is the title of the movie there.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I need my Yoda.
Yeah, I'm the guy that gets choked out by Darth Vader in the very beginning. The guy who gives just the teeniest bit of sass, and then he has his throat crushed to death, and he hemorrhages blood till he dies, choking on his own blood.
That guy had it coming.
Yeah, yeah. I did see someone on Twitter just today asking, like, was this guy new? Did he not know the rules?
Billy, I heard that you got a promotion at your job, man. I heard that you saved someone from choking, and that they promoted you to boss right away.
Yeah. It was not quite as simple as that. They were choking themselves. You see, they had their own hands around their throat, and they were yelling, "Someone's choking me!"
And you thought they were giving you the universal signal for "I'm choking."
At first, but then when they kept talking and saying someone's choking me, and it was them, then I just had to sort of like explain to them, "You're choking yourself. You're choking yourself. Stop." Mm-hmm. And then almost immediately, my boss came up and was just like, "You showed incredible leadership skills. You showed an ability to sort of take a very stressful situation and tactfully sort of approach it and see which levels of it need to be dealt with first." And so, yeah, he made me the CEO.
Yeah, dude, I heard the first thing you did was clean house.
I fired everyone. None of them did anything about the choking.
Right. Even the person who promoted you, you said bye.
They all just stood there. They're all just like, how do we stop him from choking himself? I was like, you just tell him to stop. It says, stop choking yourself. And immediately the guy was like, "Oh, yeah, it's me. Oh, you're right. It's me." It was simple as that.
I also heard that you did the firings personally, that you yourself actually called everyone because you're personable like that.
Not called. I went to all of their houses.
Really? How did that play out?
I some of them were real nasty. Some of them I was fucking hightailing it out of there. Some of them, though, they understood. They said, I didn't stop him. I get it. You know, it's like, how do you keep someone around who displayed such a lack of ability?
No,
it's like, what happens when there's a work problem,
Uh-huh.
Like, what do we do when there's a work related incident instead of just some fool with his hands clasped around his own trachea fucking squeezing to death? It's like, come on.
Right. And you need to be able to handle these sorts of situations to work at a prestigious coffee shop.
Of course, if you're going to work at Tommy's, you got to understand how to stop these sorts of things.
Right. So how's the search going for new people?
Bad, really bad. You'd think there'd be a lot of people trying to get jobs out here. No, they're not. They're all busy fucking drinking. They're trying to come in. They're trying to order matcha lattes. They're trying to get their, barista art. They don't want to work. They don't want to put the time in the way that we do.
Are you offering like benefits or like competitive pay or?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not even a little bit.
How do you get around that?
It's
do you say that they're like tipped workers and then you take the tips?
No, I don't take the tips. It's just like, I keep we're in a property, like a building that has apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've done is, and I think this is more than fair, I've rented out one of the apartments, and basically anyone who works there can live in that apartment together. I've got all these little mats on the floor. There's like enough room to walk through every space.
Are we talking like
just
a one bedroom,
lining
2 bedroom?
Everywhere? Oh yeah, like a studio, like a one bedroom studio.
So it's a studio with like a bunch of cots set up.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, nothing else.
Kitchen, bathroom.
Well, they've got the coffee shop.
Oh, okay. So they got to go downstairs during business hours. They can use the bathroom.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, during business hours. After 10 p.m., it's a little like, out the window, maybe go outside, go somewhere else.
Just like grow up and hold it.
Grow up and hold it. Yeah. I had someone tell me that one time. That's one of the closest to murder I've ever felt in my life. Good friend of ours, well, a good friend of mine, said, can't you just hold it like a man? And I was gonna kill him. I genuinely was like, oh, I'll kill you. I'll kill you right now. But also I knew I wouldn't do anything. I just that's how angry I felt.
Well, you're dealing with all these things that every great business leader and strong business minded person, they all have to go through these things, on their journey to the top. And you're well on your way, my friend.
It's not easy. It's not easy to be a franchisee owner. It's bad, if anything. It's a lot of struggling and sacrifice until you get to that golden fucking mountain summit where you stand there and you look out across your 2 or 3 chain stores in a 5-mile radius that rake you in millions of dollars. That's the life I'm on.
Precisely.
That's the path I took.
Because you want to be
and
a
that's what
titan
they
of
say
industry.
at all the seminars. Facts. If you want to be a titan, you got to eat your sons. That's the way it goes.
That's how it goes. Kill your darlings.
But sometimes there's a darling you save. That's something I've learned in the kill your darlings game. Occasionally there's a darling that you have to step up and say, no, let this one live. And that's creative advice. This is no longer in the CEO realm. Sometimes you get on a cut spree. You're cutting things out of whatever creative endeavor you're making. With music, I'm sure it's the same, where you can sort of over edit a thing down to a point where with writing, it's definitely like that. And then you find that your later drafts, you sort of have to backtrack a little and go back to a version where you can then work again from that point with what you've learned now that you wrote it the wrong way, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow any of this writer's strike stuff?
No, I haven't, man. But I've been seeing some of the movies, some trailers when I've been going to the theater lately. And honestly, I'm glad that these writers are out of work. I'm glad, man, because who the fuck is writing these movies? Dude, I can't believe this. I want AI writing more scripts, man. These things are hot turds.
What movies are you talking about right now?
I'm talking about this trailer for a movie that I saw called No Hard Feelings, okay? And I don't know if you've seen the trailer for this movie, but the premise is the parents of a 19-year-old kid, right? Their son is like a wicked nerd, okay? He doesn't talk to girls, doesn't get out of the house. They hire Jennifer Lawrence, who plays someone who is like at least 10 years older than him.
Okay.
To seduce him and have sex with him and take his virginity.
And your problem with this is?
It's not that I have a problem with it or that I'm upset about it. My thought is, what the fuck? How? Why?
Who? Oh, yeah, of course. Well, I would have to guess that some fucking geek writer born into a ton of money had a similar experience where his own mom was like, my son needs to get fucked or he's going to be a goddamn loser his whole life. And they tried to get a call girl or some madam of the night to come in who was an expert in lovemaking and loving in general, the social element. Mm-hmm. And it just was probably, he was like, this is a movie. This is going to be my movie.
You think
I'll tell you, I did see that trailer.
You think this is based on a true story?
That's absolutely. All right.
It's real.
All great writing is. And this is clearly that great writing. No, I don't know, man. I'll tell you. As far as the issues that I have with movies, I went and saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse or Beyond the Spider-Verse, whichever one it was.
Uh-huh.
And I ran into a real obstacle there because I am a trailers guy. Part of going to the movies for me is you get to watch the trailers, even though they're all available online now.
Right.
Even though it's like it's not the only place you can find them anymore.
Even though they seem like
I
piles of
find
hot garbage.
Yeah, even though they almost all suck, I still like going and seeing them. I'm a little under the weather right now, by the way. If I cough or sneeze or sniffle,
Yeah, well,
at any
you're
point in this
actually
episode, I have been
completely
feeling kind of sick.
You're in direct what the fuck am I trying to say? You're in direct
Yeah, what the fuck are you trying to say?
You're outside, so you're under the weather. Of course you are. You're outside.
Oh, I'm literally under the weather.
You're in direct shot of the weather.
Very good. Yes. I am quite literally under the weather.
Comedy.
Except I am under the porch roof right now, so I will catch you there on a little technicality. But I had a problem there only because, and it was an oversight on my own part. And just to explain where I'm at again, I'm at the movies. I'm about to see Spider-Man. I'm excited. And then when I sit down for the trailers, I realize, oh, wait, this is a children's movie. All the trailers are for more children's movies. I legitimately sat there like, oh, God, I was expecting to see horror trailers and adult comedy trailers. And then I realized no, they make this movie for fucking 8-year-olds. These are trailers for 8-year-olds. So that was my own fault. That's got nothing to do with the industry. But I will say, man, they've always pumped out garbage, but the extent to which the difference, the gap between the garbage and the good stuff, that's only gotten bigger over time. But it's just how many movies they make now too, and the process of what ideas get made is so, I don't even know how to put it. It's just such do you remember comps? Do you remember theater comps growing up?
Yeah. And
the notion that all the winning is a representation of what people felt on that day.
Yeah.
In many ways, the way movies and television shows get pitched is similar to that, in the sense that just you sit down in an executive room with a group of people who are going to decide if they understand why you think this belongs on TV or in a movie, or why this is a movie and who it's for. And if you could convince them of that on that day, then you get, that's just the first step. But then, you get the yes, you get the money agreement. Then that's what ends up getting made, once the commitment's made. But I would say I think most groups of people, most demographics would agree on that, because of how many movies get made now, because of what, money and power and sort of producer power has done. And that's always been that way, but just the way it's changed with culture is it's just made for worse movies at a bigger abundance. And then this idea of middling movies kind of out the picture. Movies that people like them, but they're not, they're not the sort of movies that everybody likes. Those are around, but they're streaming originals. They get canned a few years into being on streaming and they get written off now is the way it goes. So it's what's the point of paying attention?
I also saw a trailer for a Flaming Hot Cheetos movie.
Like a biopic, right? Like how Cheetos got made. They're doing tons of those now.
Yeah, and it's wild, man. I believe I saw this. I don't think it's maybe it's a Hulu movie or something, but still pretty wild. And I'm not even saying that it's going to be a good movie or a bad movie or the story's not worth making. I don't know what it is. I guess I know the very light premise is that it was a janitor who worked at the factory who tweaked the formula or whatever. It seems like him and his son were this is amazing, and then they made it a real thing. But it just seems here's the thing. I'm not too hyped about.
Low key, Blake. This is sounding like a cool movie. I'm reading the premise right now.
I'm not that hyped about all the remakes that I'm seeing, and honestly, then I get put some originals in front of me, right? Flaming Hot Cheetos movie,
yeah,
the Hard Feelings movie, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why? But also haven't seen them. Obviously, they're not out yet. But
Yeah, that's true. Can't judge them. Well, have you seen the Sebastian Maniscalco Robert De Niro movie that's coming out? Have you seen the trailer for that?
no. Oh yes, I have.
Why don't
I
you?
have.
You have where they eat the peacock and they're burying the
Yeah.
peacock, and he's on like the jet ski and his pants fall down and he's rubbing his dick up the window against the in-laws. That shit. That looks simultaneously abysmal and also like it would be the most fucking fun movie to watch. And that sort of calls into question if it even looks abysmal then in the first place, you know? It's just like a type of movie that people tend to clown on a lot. And it looks bad. Trust me. Like I've watched that trailer fucking 5 or 6 times. I showed it to my dad to see what he would think because I felt like maybe it was kind of for him. But even he was just like, it looks okay, you know. But I don't know. There's something about that sort of type of movie where it's like we'll take one guy and we'll take another guy, and they probably wouldn't like with those two. It makes more sense. It's pretty clear that this is like Sebastian Maniscalco's sort of, you know, voice they're trying to channel that into the movie. And De Niro's, you know, that's a goated guy to get. How about them having kids, huh? De Niro and Pacino?
Yeah, like they got younger kids.
No, like they both just conceived or had kids
They
born.
just did.
And they're in their 80s.
Damn.
Both of them. Isn't that nuts?
Potent.
And Bill Murray's dating the Kellys, whatever her name was, Kellis, I think. Khalees. That makes the most sense.
Milkshake?
Yeah, they're dating now.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
And they're like, Bill Murray is
shout out to JPEG Mafia. Again, we talked about him last week, dude. He sampled that song on his project with Danny Brown.
Oh,
dude,
really?
It's a great sample.
I don't know. That's so funny. I've definitely heard Khalees said out loud, but it's been so long that part of me was thinking just like, I have no idea how this is said. But then as soon as you said it, it brought it back. It's like, oh yeah, I used to hear that name a ton in grade school just because that song was so popular and people would always talk about, you know, like, have you seen Khalees? Do you know Khalees? Like, it's so funny that once you actually reminded me of how it sounded and then I like could tap into which memories it existed in, I start hearing it in like, you know, like all those young voices that I remember hearing it in. I can't remember the last time I heard in my adult life someone say Khalees, but that's just me.
I also saw, to bring it back to the movies real quick, I also saw a trailer for Mission Impossible, a new Mission Impossible movie. And Tom Cruise just looks too young, man. He just looks too young, and I'm not buying it. There's something he's doing some sketchy shit, man. And we need to get to the bottom of it here on this podcast.
I would love that. Should we pivot completely to just exploring Scientology and Tom Cruise in the Tom Cruise Scientology realm?
Maybe we do like a double episode where we just deep dive into everything Tom Cruise.
Oh, that could be fun.
Yeah.
From birth to death.
Everything. Yeah. Yeah, because at the very end we kill him.
We sort of guess how he'll die, and our guess is he's assassinated by 2 podcasters, and then we make that true.
I'm hyped to see this movie. I like the Mission Impossible movies.
Mission Impossible?
Yeah, they're good.
I don't know that I've ever seen one, but I've seen a lot of clips from all of them over time, which it doesn't equate to having seen any of them, but it certainly makes me think I have an idea of it at the very least.
Yeah, you should watch Ghost Protocol. Is that
a really good one?
It's the 4th one, but you don't need to watch any of the other ones to get it.
Word.
Yeah, dude, it's Tom Cruise. I think Zoe Saldana, and Simon Pegg, and dude, great cast. It's such a good cast in these movies.
Zoe Saldana, man, she's like the fucking queen of the franchise movies.
I'm almost positive it's her. I'm definitely picturing her. I could be wrong.
Either way, even without Mission Impossible, I feel like you could still call her a queen of the franchise films. She's got the Marvel Connect. I think that's her in the Avatar movies too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, I don't see Mission Impossible here. But she was in Curse of the Black Pearl. I don't think she had a very big role, but she was in it, which taps her into one of the Ultimate franchises.
You're going to call that one of the Ultimate franchises?
Oh, with my whole chest. Dude, what are you talking about? It's Pirates of the Caribbean. Wait a second. Is this beef? It's Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's fine. It's
Oh
just
my God.
fine.
I'm not even prepared to hear that right now. You have to go back and rewatch them. Did they dilute the waters with all those
It's
awful
not
ones?
Harry Potter.
Absolutely.
It's not Star Wars. Like it's not
It's
Marvel.
Pirates. Do you know how much money those made? Do you know how huge those were? Did you even tap in at the time, or were you a fucking loser who didn't
I
like
was
them?
tapped in. Okay, all right. Don't call me a loser. I was tapped in.
It sounds like you don't know shit about Jack
No, listen, dude. I know lots about Jack. All right?
Barbosa. Oh my God, I love those movies. I'm honestly blown away that you wouldn't feel the same.
They're
Didn't
good.
we? Did we rewatch one of them together?
Even Jurassic Park is bigger.
Okay, well, it's Jurassic Park, but that's like, they're similar. They're both definitely similar in there. Like they both had the sequels that were just so abundantly, like clear cash grabs. Like, I mean, big overseas success, both of them, I'm pretty sure. Although, no, I think those last two Pirates just made no fucking money. I mean, it's not Harry Potter. I'm not arguing that, but it is Pirates. Like that's huge. And she's only in the last one. So it's not even like
It's
she
not,
was,
I just don't think it's one of the biggest franchises.
Well, then if we rank them right here, I think you'd find that Pirates is argued to be, there's an argument to put it very high up if we looked at the
You
stats.
think it's in the top 10?
Easily. It's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Where's Transformers?
The fucking
Where's
first
Transformers
three.
above that? Is that lower?
Lower than Pirates, dude. Lower than Pirates. Come on. Transformers, still big. More, has had way more spin-offs and all that, but it's not. Come on. Actually, low key, I wish Stanley were here to discuss this. A long time frequent guest on the pod. He's always popping in, and this would be the prime moment because he knows so much about all this. The Optimus Prime moment right now. Do you know Dan Schneider, the Nickelodeon guy? The pedophile?
Yes.
Yeah, I found this so funny. This is also something that I think I originally saw on Twitter and then looked into it and just laughed so hard. So Dan Schneider was the only recipient of the Nickelodeon Lifetime Achievement Award for the longest fucking time. And then very recently, they finally gave it to someone else. Like for the first time ever, they awarded it to him, and then they never even brought it back. And the next person ever received the Nickelodeon Lifetime Achievement Award was Optimus Prime. It's so funny. If you actually watch the acceptance, it is so
That sounds
funny.
amazing. I gotta see that.
It's truly hysterical. And if you look at like the list of winners over the years, it's like just fucking Dan Schneider, Optimus Prime. It's so funny.
Billy, we didn't listen to our phone call. I kind of skipped over that.
Let's do a little intro on it that we can cut into.
All right. So if you guys want us to answer your phone call, you can call us at 512-766-4646, or you can text that number and we'll play your shit on the podcast. And here we go.
Hello, Bromingo. This is Tom. I was just wondering, in your opinion, what is the stinkiest, as far as smell goes, the stinkiest city in America? Thank you. Love the podcast. Have a good day.
Wow. Okay. So I like how we clarified
Good
it was
question.
stinkiest as far as smell goes.
Yeah, as far as smell goes, in America. Stinkiest city.
And I don't know. I heard recently that there's some town out there where the mayor is a donkey.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't speak well for the stink
Right.
of it all.
There's
I'll tell you that.
no way that place smells great, And there's also like all these national parks too out here. They look beautiful, but they just stink, man, because they got those natural, geysers with that sulfur coming out of the ground out there.
Yeah, the sulfur. It's got a farty
And
smell.
never mind
for
the
sure out
vagrants.
there. Yeah, and I mean, I love them
Hey,
to
love
death.
'em.
I love those
Love 'em.
people. Love vagrants, but they stink. They smell.
stink and they smell.
And that's just a cold hard fact. So it's like anyone who's calling in to ask about the stinkiest cities, they're looking at the tiny picture.
Yeah.
You have to think about the large open spaces, which still somehow, against all odds, stink to high heavens.
And I have a feeling that maybe Tom needs to check his own pits.
I do have a feeling that maybe if Tom looked around for a second and gave a smell, gave a quick sniff, a self-evident sniff, he might wonder to himself, why am I so worried about the stink of other cities in the first
Right.
place?
Right, absolutely.
But real answer, Boston Seaport District. That shit smells like fucking ass. You get the salty, smelly air, all the stinky fish. That's probably what I'd go with.
Yeah. Fish doesn't help, man. Fish do not help.
No, it can't actually be Boston. Boston, I never really remember walking around the seaport and having a smell. God, I've been to a lot of cities, smelled a lot of cities, but I'm not gonna lie, not that many of them have stunk out as have stuck out as explicitly stinky, you know? I mean, do you even think of like Fall River as smelling? I don't.
No, dude, but I remember
there's water everywhere though.
Right. I know that's the thing. You walk by the wrong place at the wrong time anywhere around here, and you catch that low tide. You catch some rotting fish that got washed up on the on the beach.
Totally. Happens every day.
Yeah.
To innocent people. Can you think of a time where you were in a new city maybe, and you were just like, holy crapola, the fucking stink in here?
Yeah. Well, New York subways.
Oh yeah, sure. I had a friend describe. This is honestly, this was a little heartless, but it took me by surprise so hard. Someone was telling me about going into a New York subway the other day. They live in New York, and they were like, I'm sorry. I think they live in Boston, and they were on vacation in New York, but they were walking in there like at 2 a.m, and they were like, I go down the stairs and I look around and it's like I'm in fucking Mordor right now. And I just had to leave. I ended up walking. I was like, oh God.
Yeah, dude. I mean, people talk about New York now in a way that I've never heard New York talked about ever in my life. When I was there, apparently it's gotten kind of nasty, but I was there like less than 5 years ago. So I find it a little tough to believe. I think that there's a lot of just like people echoing that opinion, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably true. No, that's probably true. Also, you get a guy coming in from Boston. Who knows what his opinion of the tiniest thing could be? But I do know someone who went on the subway in New York, I think like within the past year, and got punched in the head. So just like attacked. So yeah, that there's definitely a level of.
Oh yeah, it's prison rules down there.
Yeah, for sure.
City rules don't apply. Sure. You're underground.
No, that makes sense. I haven't ridden much of the subways of like other cities, but God, I loved riding the subway in Boston. I loved riding the T. I loved riding the train in Montreal when I was there. Rode the train a lot here in LA, and it's honestly not bad.
We're getting one in the Riv, nice. Baby. Fall
That's lit.
River
so
Mass.
Fire.
Getting a train. Can't wait.
Who would have ever guessed?
The tracks
I never
still there.
Guessed.
I'm talking about train tracks.
Yeah.
Shout out to Continent Bakery.
Yeah, the best. Got to hit it every time you're home.
I had a customer come in the other day, and he went in there.
Did you grow up calling it Continent or Continental?
Continent.
I called it Continental
really?
Growing up. Even though the name is the Continent Bakery, we called it the Continental Bakery, and pretty much everyone I know in my family and the surrounding circles refers to it as the Continental Bakery. Oh, I went to Continental. And it's like they know that's not the name, but also I think if you said to them the name is Continent, they'd be like, yeah.
You think it's like a
it's so
thing?
funny. I think maybe. I don't know. I think it also could just be them mispronouncing it for my whole life. So you never know. But I still to this day I call it, but I've called it Continental to other people and they know exactly what you're talking about. So I think there's just like probably a minor split between like who has called it what. Because I'm sure there's people that have heard it called Continental and then been like, I'm not calling it that. Its name is the Continent Bakery.
So I'm in the store the other day and some guy comes in. He just went there, right? And they tell him, hey, he just orders one donut. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just his treat. All right. He's just I just want one donut. He's diabetic. He just wants the one. And they go, oh, well, we're closing soon. And they gave him 24 donuts for the price of one. Right. So he comes into the store and he's like,
that's so funny.
You guys want a donut? Funny. And we're like, sure, I'm not gonna say no to a donut from Continent. Drops off a whole bunch of donuts. He's like, I'm fucking diabetic. What are they trying to kill me? It's all these Portuguese women. They want to kill their husbands.
They want to kill me. That's so funny. He probably told them too. He probably said it like, I've got I could only have this one little treat because of my diabetes, but I'm so excited to spend that treat here with you. And they're like, well, here's 3 boxes of 10,000 calories of sugar, my friend. The best pastries you've ever had. They're pretty good there. It's a fun place. I was actually, last time I was there, I was telling the lady working there who was helping me that I had tried baking the Papa Secos, which I've always just called them Portuguese rolls, but I think that's their real name, or probably not pronounced that way. But I was telling her, she was like, oh shit, did they turn out good? And I was like, the second time I ever tried was really close. She was like, that's crazy. She was like, that's crazy. I don't bake those. She's like, I wonder how you even did that. That sort of thing. I was so excited.
I'm all about the jelly donut.
Never been a jelly guy. Never in my life. I'll eat it. Definitely not my favorite.
They got good
Not at all.
jelly in those, dude. I like it.
Yeah. There, it's good. I like all their like fruit
The
pastries.
Dunkin' jelly's fine, but
Yeah,
continent
see, that's where
jelly. Whew. And dude,
I've enjoyed jelly.
I think that Dunkin' Donuts has taken a huge drop. What am I trying to say? They've taken a huge
Drop in quality.
man. Massive drop in quality. You go in there anytime now, dude. Everything's stale all the time. Always, man. And I feel like growing up, it was like so good.
Yeah, but it's just, I think I have a personal take on it that's probably a little more like drawn around my own experiences, but I think on some level, the people that they're hiring now are just like a lot less passionate about, whatever it is they do for work. Doesn't really matter what it is. It's just not people that are like going to put their all into a job like that. And also like the quality of everything that they make has gone down in an effort to, cut costs as much as possible. So when we were growing up, like, it's not like things were being baked right in there that much anymore for most things, but there was still a lot more actual prep work going into the stuff. And now everything's just freezer to oven. They just like, everything goes right from the freezer right into the oven. No, nothing is fresh. I think that's a big problem with a lot of those sorts of places. But
and as a titan of industry,
thing about Dunkin', yeah.
As a titan of industry, do you think that this is a direction that is going to lead to something good for the company or bad for the company?
I mean, as a man in the coffee trade myself, I would have to say that Dunkin' only serves to improve its, business by improving its perception. And so if Dunkin' can get a perception back that they're a place that has fresh stuff and good stuff, because that's just not how people think of them right now. People like them and they go to them, but I don't think they think of it as like, and some people would disagree with me, and I eat the food there enough to feel like I can speak on it. But that's all I'll say about that is I'm doing my thing and they're doing their thing. You know what I mean? That's all I can do. And my thing is fresh ingredients, fucking perfectly cooked with love, pastries and dinners, always ready for you, always delicious, always good. That's all I have to say about them.
Boston Market is closing.
Oh, wow.
That company's done.
You put one of the last nails in that coffin for sure.
You son of a bitch. I did that. No, I'm not going down for this.
On some level, you'll have to take on the cross for this.
I definitely bear some level of responsibility.
In the sense that many people's actions have built into this event, yours is one of the small drops in that ocean for sure.
Yeah, because I talked about it in the podcast before. I'll do it again. I have to atone for my sins publicly.
You left them high and dry.
I left them high and dry because Billy here and our previous guest on the show, James, they came to visit me in Arizona, and they convinced me to stay in the pool with them and just never go into work ever again.
We were like, quit work.
And I was like,
we're like, dude, we're here. Why would you go to your job?
I can go crawl into a hot oven and scrub it with toxic chemicals, or I can stay here in the pool in the 90-degree sun and smoke weed and drink beers with my boys.
That's so funny. I was actually on call with customer service the other day about something I ordered came in like totally broken, and I was so expecting to have like an annoying call, and I waited on hold for like 40 minutes legit, and I was so ready to just get dicked around. And this woman couldn't have been nicer, couldn't have been more apologetic, couldn't have been more clear that like they wanted to make it right. And then I'm talking to her about weather, and she's just going like, well, I'll tell you, I just love the weather here in Phoenix. She's like, people talk bad about it, but it's my favorite. My favorite time of year. My favorite time of year is monsoon season.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her. I was like, dude, I've been to Phoenix for 1 week, and we got hit with the craziest weather I've ever fucking seen. 105-degree days, monsoon nights, like just a fucking gnarly time for the weather. It was crazy. I remember us running through the monsoon, trying to climb a fence to get into your friend's apartment complex.
Yeah.
And just me thinking like, this is borderline hellish weather. This is actually like mind numbing how it switches up like this.
Dude, yeah. Mild winters, really hot summers, followed by like in like August to September, I believe it is. Dude, just the craziest downpours you've ever experienced. Flash floods, mudslides.
She said specifically, I think August or July to September, something like that. And she, because I asked her, I was like, what are the monsoons like around now? And she was like, well, yeah, it felt like it was like, oh, you know about monsoon season, but you don't know when it is because that's coming up. It was like that sort of energy.
Dude.
But she was like explaining to me, it's coming.
Monsoon season.
I remember you telling us that the day we showed up, or like the second day. You were like, "Oh, by the way, it's monsoon season, so you never know what we'll see." And we were laughing about it, and I was especially thinking to myself, "There's no way that in this period of time we just get like a total actual monsoon. It might rain, but that's fine." And then the like end of the trip, there's a monsoon warning in the beginning of the day, and you're like, "I told you." And then there's news reports immediately that like 4 people are dead, like not that far from where we are from the monsoon. And we were like, holy shit. We're like, what the fuck you didn't explain the monsoon season was a real thing.
You're never gonna
I didn't realize. It was so funny.
Yeah, dude. It gets real. I love it, man. I love it. It's just fun and it's exciting, and it's all dry, and then all of a sudden it's crazy rain. You get to experience living in like a rainy climate half your days for a couple months.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
I like it. I remember one day when you guys were out visiting me, and I went to work at Boston Market, and I came
before the great
split, and Cole was hanging out with you guys at my place, right? And I had I don't know, a couple grams of bud, nothing crazy, just a grinder full though, right? And I said, yeah, you guys can have whatever you need. You're like, okay, cool. I get back from work and it's raining like fucking crazy. Complete monsoon.
Yeah.
I walk into the door completely soaking wet. You guys are just all sitting around the table, and I'm like, oh, guys, that was a hellish fucking day. And you're like, yeah, man, we've just been chilling. Open up the grinder. You guys smoked all my weed. And then you were like, you told us we could. I was like, I didn't say you could finish it.
I think precisely what I remember is we need to get more weed. We smoked all of it. And you went, we? Who's we?
Unreal, dude. I lived
great trip. Really fun time.
Yeah, dude. I had zero savings when I lived out there. I literally lived on $100 a week.
That's so crazy. That's how I was doing out here recently. Do you remember James spent all his money like day one?
Yeah.
And like he had no ability to get more. He was just like, nope, I brought what I brought, and I blew through it. I'm screwed.
Yeah, he had no plan. Did he bring his own ramen or something?
Actually ran a. Oh, there was something like that where he had packed.
He has packs of ramen in his suitcase.
And he was eating it. Yeah, that's true.
What a guy!
I've totally forgot about that. That shit was so funny when he opened the suitcase.
I feel like he was like, yeah, I don't need money for food or anything. I have ramen. I'm like, what? All right. Which just resulted in me and you buying him things.
Bought him everything. It was honestly hysterical.
A good move on his part. That's a good business move.
Yeah, it's a really smart move. Really smart.
All right, we can wrap this one up. You got anything else you want to add?
I'm trying to think. Like, no, not really. It was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I think so too. I ask you're the king of turning it around, man. I'm editing it sometimes. I tell you, I'm like, yo, let's wrap it up, and then I look forward and I'm like, oh wow, we go for 10 more minutes after I said this.
I'm trying to think of what there is to talk about.
Shout out to Tom for calling in.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Tom for calling in. That was really nice of him.
Yeah, and just stay away from that donkey town.
Yeah, maybe go out and smell the smells for yourself, Tom. Check out the cities. It's like if you have the capability to
Right.
do some traveling, I would recommend, figuring out your own opinion on what the stinkiest city in America
How's it
is.
smell? How's it smell over there, Billy, right now?
In LA? It's very good, man. I'm all stuffed up. You probably heard it in me trying to sniff. It's actually gross. I can't smell it.
We are in a haze over here in New England. From the fires
that's so
of
true.
Nova Scotia.
Are you seeing it?
Oh yeah.
Are you seeing it
Dude,
where
yeah,
you
like
are?
crazy.
Oh wow. Oh,
like a
wow.
lot. Like you go outside and you're just like, what the fuck? It's like a movie or something. Everything's smoky and
Wow.
emo.
That's so crazy. People should be wearing masks. It's a shame that our town has spent years harboring a mask phobia. Because now would be a great time to implement. Hey guys, remember the masks we were wearing? It'd be safer again.
Dude, my coworker
You
goes outside, right? Smokes a Lucky Strike in like 3 puffs. Comes back inside and is like, "Oh, the air quality's horrible out there." It's the funniest shit, dude. It's like, really?
it's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Like it ruined the taste of a cigarette, all that toxic air.
That's just so crazy.
Oh, hey, one more thing. I had written on my sheet here. I totally bombed at karaoke last night, man.
Oh,
So
God.
bad.
We've talked about that before.
I bombed so bad at karaoke last night that the DJ took my second song out.
Oh God.
And the worst part was I got off the stage. I was like, oh God. Everyone was like, hey, good job, good job, good job. And I'm like, wow, it was so bad. These guys have to try and make me feel better right now. So
What were you
I don't
singing?
I don't go outside and jump into the river.
What were you singing?
Lips of an Angel by Hinder.
Oh, that's a dude. Come on,
Dude, it's harder. It's harder than you think. All right.
no shit. It's hard. That's what.
So
I'm
then
thinking.
afterwards, I'm like, all right, redemption song, wicked easy song. Never Gonna Give You Up.
Okay, yeah, you should have led with that.
Real
One.
easy song, dude. Never got a chance.
If you did that one, you might have won the trust that you needed to pull off "Lips of an Angel."
Yeah, I was also recording vocals all day, screaming all day, drinking tea with honey just to keep going, recording. So like my range that usually maybe goes from here to here, now went from like here to here. Like
That's so
my
brutal.
range had a total cap on it, and man, it was so embarrassing.
You probably, honestly, dude, you probably self-sabotaged yourself because you'd been feeling so good about the great vocals you were recording all day.
Probably.
That you just were like, you know what? I got to go out to the karaoke bar and make a goddamn fool of
hey,
myself.
I never take shots in the dark with this shit. Like I picked a song that I sing and play on guitar often, right? But this is the thing that the same reason why I can do 4 non-blondes on guitar and not at karaoke. Man, I tune my guitar down. I use a capo. I change the key of these things. And I always forget that. And I got confident. I had 3 Bud Light Platinums, 2 tequila lemonades, and I said, sign me up. Oh, sign me up.
Oh man. We might have to cut this out
Okay.
because it'll get Danny in a bunch of trouble.
Okay.
But I do want to tell you anyway because it's funny. My dad sent me a picture today. It's like a screenshot. Can you hear the trash truck driving by?
No.
Okay. My dad sent me a screenshot today. It's like a picture from Facebook. In your next life, will you like your dad to be your dad again? With like the little like emoji face. And I put back, that's a crazy thing to wonder about. Obviously, yes, though. And then Danny texted me privately, wow, you really bit the bullet on that one. I commend you, man. I want a rich guy. But Danny, that was like 2 hours ago. And Danny just texted my dad in the chat, responding to the picture like just now as we're talking, maybe 10 minutes ago. Oh, shiver me timbers. I can't believe a world where you're not my father. I don't think I would be able to make it without you. Which is such a funny follow-up after being like, I'd take a rich guy. If I could pick, I'm picking Bill Gates.
Oh, dude, that's such like a monkey's paw sort of question, though. You know.
Yeah, it totally is. Or even just like it's a trick question. Because it's like, do you want me to be your dad again?
What if you
next
get Kendall
life?
Roy?
Like, I don't know, bro. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what if your dad's Kendall Roy?
If you say no to your dad, your dad that you could get someone way worse. Yeah. Especially with my dad, because he did a pretty good job. There's a lot worse you could do.
Let's wrap this
Dad's
up.
a
I'm
good dad.
fully out of steam.
I have a good dad.
I'm fully out of steam. Shout out to Bill Sr.
All right. Let's do it. Yeah. VIP Bill Sr. Not many VIP dads in this house, so shout out. I'm also out of steam.
All right.
I felt out of steam since we started.
Yeah.
So let's fucking
yeah,
do this
me
thing.
too. All right. Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in to episode 88. The phone number is 5127.
Oh, and also, I just want to point out that whenever I see the number 88 now, I get like the shivers, man. I wanted to bring that up earlier because it's like they use it for like Nazi paraphernalia and like it's like a Nazi number. And so I hate
Well, at
hate
some
that
point in this episode, there is a hidden swastika.
It's like, no, there's not.
You have to go back. You have to watch it.
Can I tell you?
You have to watch it at least 3 times to see it. 512-766-4646. Call or text that number to participate in the show. Thank you for tuning in to episode 88. Again, we'll see you next week. Thanks for coming to our show. It's time to go. We hope you liked our episode. It's Bromingo.
Welcome to the post show. I'm Billy Broder, your host, here with my co-host Blake Rikowski. How you doing, Blake?
How's it going, guys? Great to be here.
Thanks for being on the post show. I'm just curious how you think the show went.
It's not the worst episode I ever seen of the show, but it definitely seems like there was times when Blake zoned out a little bit.
Oh,
like
sure,
Blake zoned out a little
absolutely. I
bit.
was watching that too, and there were also times where I noticed where Billy found himself to have trailed off without realizing it, and then sort of came to in the moment as like, oh, I'm not really talking about anything anymore. So I feel like I saw both of those things going on, and I'm sure they could improve it by just being, more present, more focused, and more prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably all they need. Yeah,
I think maybe a couple of times. I think maybe you took the baton away from Blake before he was handing it.
Yeah. I saw stuff like that too. Almost like a fumble for a dap.
Right.
You know what I
But
mean?
then it should be on
like
Blake.
someone offered a
It should
dap.
be on Blake to stay present and let it go. Let it keep on rolling.
Fair enough. Like water under the bridge.
Yeah.
For sure. But also, I mean, that's the thing about these guys, they suck.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're amateurs. And you know what?
They're amateur fools.
This is what they need to remember. The 3 C's.
3 C's.
Content.
All right. So as
The
promised
swastika story.
in the show, the hidden
Make sure you watch the
swastika
episode a couple of
story.
times. Try and find the hidden swastika.
Yeah, you're such a bastard, bro. Don't fucking put one in. That's a horrible idea.
Billy, the idea is that they'll go back, they'll get our numbers up trying to find it, and it's not actually there.
Fuck yeah. Rewatch the episode, guys, to find the hate symbol that we hid for you to watch for. Yeah. Great gimmick, dumbass. No, I'm just joking. And that was the post show, guys. Thanks for checking us out. 516-7646-2626. Please join the show with your own phone calls and texts at the real number, which you'll see right here. And leave us a message. Give us something to talk about. Maybe respond to Tom about what you think the stinkiest city in America is. And we'd love to play it on the show. Thanks, guys. Comment, like, subscribe, and never forget to bro that Mingo.